is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this First Alert Weather Day. We have team coverage of today's historic April storm.
Our meteorologists have been warning about this for a week now. Now it's here and it is causing some trouble. Check out this video sent in from Valley News Live viewer. The snow, the ice, the massive drifts, too much even for a Lisbon plow. The plow got stuck in the middle of a rural road.
For a look at what we're seeing here in town tonight, let's head outside to Valley News Team's Reed Gregory, kicking off our team coverage in West Fargo with the latest on conditions.
Yeah, Reed, you've been out there all day. What are you seeing tonight?
Justin, Stacy, good evening, guys, there in the studio. You want to see what I'm seeing tonight? Check this out. You want to talk about some drifts? These are no joke out here in West Fargo. I'm in an apartment complex in West Fargo, and check these bad boys out. That's probably, gosh, a couple feet. I'm not the tallest person in the world, but you know what I mean. These are pretty darn tall. Now, on the top of them, you're seeing that fresh, powdery snow. That's what's causing those road closures, those slick slides off for cars that are sliding off the highway and whatnot. You know, I spoke to officials in Grand Forks yesterday, and they mentioned how tedious that fresh snow can be to shovel for not only individuals, but for their equipment as well.
It's tough on equipment for everybody. For a person shoveling their driveway to the equipment we use to clear the streets, just wet, heavy snow is tough snow. And then on the back end of that, we see the forecast, which is nice. It looks like spring may be coming after the storm, but we go straight into flood fighting mode.
And you heard John right there. They go after this blizzard, this snowstorm, straight into flood fighting mode, which is a whole different battle in itself. As for tonight, this looks like probably, hopefully, the calmest part we're going to see. And then again, we'll see, try to keep everybody informed as to what we can see tomorrow into the morning as well. In West Fargo tonight, Reed Gregory, Valley News Live.
All right, Reed, thanks so much for that live report. Stay safe out there.
Conditions we talked about have gotten worse over the last hour. Just minutes ago, I-29 has now expanded its closure. It's now closed for the whole state, from the Canadian border down to the South Dakota border, except for the city exits in Grand Forks and Fargo. I-94 is also closed from Fargo out to Bismarck. Many of the side roads, the side highways, 46, 27, 18, 11, 13, they're all closed as well. And the roads that are open, you see up here in northeastern North Dakota, all these exclamation points, these are all instants. These are all crashes. Over on the Minnesota side, they don't tend to close as many highways, and they're not, but there are some problems. You see some crashes here on I-94 in Alexandria, a couple up closer to between Fergus Falls and Elbow Lake. Passable in spots, no travel advised up in the far northwestern parts of Minnesota, Crookston, East Grand Forks, Fertile, Ada. So the roads are open on the Minnesota side, but there's some tricky travel conditions there. As for when this snow might finally stop and what else Mother Nature has in store for us, let's send things over to First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
All right, Justin, thanks so much. Yes, we've been watching this storm for about a week now, and here it goes. So taking a look in Grand Forks, and that heavier band of snow has set up there. Have a little bit of a break in the south, but are we done? Nope. First Alert Weather Day continues tonight and through the day tomorrow. Now again, some snowfall reports right at 4 inches here at the studios in South Fargo. 7 inches reported in Grand Forks, 5.8 for Moorhead. A lot of snow south Lida Lake, 8 inches there, and Jamestown Edgeley, 7 inches of snow, as is the case near the Pelican Rapids area, 7 inches on Sand Lake there. So numerous reports, and we're just getting started. Little break in the action here. We'll take a little bit of a nibble out of our snowfall totals in some of our southern counties, but folks, there's a lot more snow to be had. Still expecting close to a foot. If you see your area in the pink, that includes Grand Forks. It includes Valley City, Jamestown, Detroit Lakes, and could see some over 15-inch totals in northwest Minnesota. Speaking of Minnesota, Frazee sideways snow flying out there. The wind really hasn't picked up yet. Most of our visibility reduction from the falling snow. Thunderstorm watches aplenty, including portions of southern Minnesota. For northern Minnesota, heavier snow right here in a band that's set up through Grand Forks. Snowfall rates in this band around 1.5 inches per hour. That extends into the Valley City area and just north of Fargo. Where it isn't completely dry here, we do have that mist and freezing drizzle at times. Visibility is worst in the band of snow, down to around 1/4 mile at times. Check out the wind speeds across the area. Now we are seeing it shift and become 40 miles per hour in Jamestown from the north. The strongest of the winds will continue to increase into tomorrow. Check out Duluth, 61-mile-per-hour winds there. We are not done yet. I'll have details on when the snow returns and what you can expect as you look out the window in the morning here in just a couple of moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
Cattle farmers and ranchers in our area are working around the clock to ensure newborn livestock and their mothers are warm and dry. They say calves can be cold, but they can't be wet, which is why providing shelter and laying fresh hay is so important.
When these calves are born, and if they are born in, this slop or the snow, hypothermia can kick in like that. So you want to make sure they're in a dry area. Now, once they're in there and they see what's going on outside, they generally don't stray too far from comfort.
Farmers tell us even with these weather conditions, North Dakota cattle are resilient.
Have to be around here. Tonight, Xcel Energy has extra staff on hand and plans in place to get the lights back on if your power goes out from snow, from ice, from high winds. You can report any outages online, calling over the phone, or using the My Xcel Energy mobile app. We have a link to that on our website, valleynewslive.com. So far, though, no outages reported in our area, though there are some in the Twin Cities where they got more of that ice than the real snow.
Tonight, 350 plow drivers are positioned around the state of North Dakota cleaning up today's snow. Governor Doug Burgum signed a bill today expediting $20 million of emergency grants for snow removal costs. He said this winter has strained resources at every level, and hopefully this will bring some relief. Officials are asking everyone to stay home and let crews work.
They just end up in the ditch. And then they end up with highway patrol, and then you end up with risky situations for our first responders. And so again, when I say patience saves lives, let's remember that.
$15 million will reimburse snow removal costs from October 1st through December 31st. An additional $5 million will get us through the end of this month.
Today, Minnesota legislators began their spring recess, and with a few months left to go before their session adjourns, it's an opportunity for lawmakers to both reflect and look ahead at the work that still needs to be done. Valley News Team's Quinn Gorham sat down for an exclusive one-on-one interview with Governor Tim Walz. He talked about budgets, tax relief, and much more. Here's just a snippet of that conversation discussing the $3 billion set aside for tax relief.
Do you think that's enough money for?
We'll see. Yes, I think it might be enough that we're able to get done, but I feel very adamant that, again, a big chunk of this, about a third of it, is going back in the forms of tax cuts directly back to people. The rest is going to infrastructure, education, and those types of things.
Could we see some Social Security tax relief? Because I know that's been a big point of contention.
We will.
Okay.
And like I've compromised with them and said that when I first came to office in 2019, we cut the Social Security tax. I didn't get a lot of enthusiasm.
You can tune in tomorrow night for our full exclusive interview right here on Valley News Live.
We're going through a fake investigation. That's what it is, by radical left people that I believe actually have to hate our country.
Former President Donald Trump back home in Florida tonight and responding to his arraignment in New York. He pleaded not guilty this afternoon to 34 charges of falsifying business records with intent to defraud and commit crime.
Christiane Benavidez is outside Mar-a-Lago tonight with the latest.
Former President Donald Trump was welcomed back to his private state by hundreds of people he personally invited to be with him tonight, following a whirlwind trip to New York where he was arrested, becoming the first former president in U.S. history charged with a crime.
As it turns out, virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime.
According to the indictment, Trump is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to conceal hush money payments to 3 individuals who were threatening to reveal negative information about him during the 2016 election. One was former adult film star Stormy Daniels. Another was former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. The third was a Trump Tower doorman who was trying to sell information about a child he claimed Trump fathered out of wedlock.
Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime.
In court, Trump pleaded not guilty to all 34 charges. The judge told the former president to refrain from social media posts that could provoke unrest following Trump's previous message critical of prosecutors. Trump's campaign is using today's events to raise money for his 2024 presidential run and his legal defense. The Republican National Committee will no longer cover Trump's legal bills now that he's running for president. His campaign is already offering not guilty t-shirts with a fake mugshot of the former president for a $47 donation. Trump was not required to take a mugshot after his arrest. Now back in Florida at his Mar-a-Lago estate, he is vowing to fight the charges. Christian Benavides, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
The former president isn't due back in court until December 4th, meaning much of the potential trial would play out next year, leading up to the presidential election.
Well, the snow is keeping North Dakota farmers out of their fields this spring. Still ahead of LA News Live, we'll break down what that means for you and your wallet.
And the radar shows we have some drier air working its way in. Some of the moisture likely robbed by these thunderstorms developing down to the south. But when will the snow return? And it will. To your area, details coming up right after this.